welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah if you're new here, and I'm starting a new vlog. In today's vlog, I'm going to be starting the trending topic right now, which is the vlog ends when I hit a 5-star read. So we are on the hunt for my next 5-star read, and the vlog keeps going until I find a book that is 5 stars for me personally. I thought this was such a fun concept. I saw a bunch of people do this. The most recent one I saw was Sarah from Sarah Without an H. Her video was hilarious and I decided to give it a try myself. The first book I'm going to be diving into is The Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Chakraborty, which is book 2 in the Devabad trilogy. I read book 1 previously several years ago, and I reread it in December and really enjoyed my time upon reread, and I'm giving the sequel a chance. I'm really enjoying this so far. I'm about 50% in, and I can't wait to continue. I don't know 50% in if this is going to be a 5-star. There are certain characters who are somehow back from the dead who are very annoying. Who I don't particularly enjoy. I'm enjoying the other 2 points of view that we are getting. The politics are as intense as ever, and I'm enjoying possibly a romantic connection happening. I can see inklings of some romantic tension, and I think it could be very interesting. This is kind of a countdown story where we are approaching a important Jin holiday, and that is also a time where the capital is vulnerable as well. So we'll see what happens with the climax of this book, but this is the first book on the docket. It's been so long since I vlogged. I've got so much to show you. So first things first, my dining room is purple. See? I love this color. I'm obsessed. Next room is I'm gonna paint this one, but I'm obsessed with this purple color. I think it looks really good with my wedding photo, in my opinion. And then here's my lunch for the day. Pasta salad, bellies, a cottage cheese dip and chips. Yum, yum, yum. Some garden updates. I've got some plants doing pretty well on the patio here. This one, not so much. Don't look at that one. This one's okay. That one is flowering like crazy, but like all the leaves are dying, so I don't know. Maybe she's happy. Maybe I water her too much. I don't know. But over here, we actually got some peppers going up on this patio just because I want to keep an eye on them. I've had difficulty growing peppers in the past, so I wanted to try and tend to them a little bit more attentively. So I grew some starters, and then these little guys are from seeds. So we're kind of experimenting here, and they're all different kinds. I've got some marigolds happening. Lovely. They smell great. Good for pollinators. And then more peppers on this one. More seedlings and starters. Oop, got a couple of leaves down. So we're just experimenting, seeing what works, what doesn't with peppers. And then I've got tomatoes going, which grow, I swear, an inch every day. And these are from the grocery store. Like literally I ate a tomato from the grocery store and harvested the seeds from it and planted the seeds, and this is what's happening. So I've got 6 or 7 little guys going. I ended up giving my sister about 6 as well. So tomatoes are thriving. Hopefully we get a good crop of tomatoes. They're heirloom tomatoes, very yummy. And then over here, another plant doing pretty good. My husband and I added all this mulch to this area around our air conditioning, very attractive. But these are all hydrangeas, and my dogs were digging them up. See, you can see all this bare patches. My dogs were digging back here, so this is a preventative measure to try and get the dogs to stop digging this area. And my dog could also escape out the fence that way. In the gazebo, I moved all of my indoor houseplants outside to see how they fared. This is one of my favorites. She's very soft. It's a succulent. It's called like a bear paw, I believe. And she's thriving. She's turning pink. We actually have some new growth on some plants that weren't looking so hot. So that's nice to see. Also, don't know if you can see it, baby birds. About 4 of them up there. We really got to close this thing off, but it's gonna take a lot of money. They peep so cutely. Peep, 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 peep. Peep, 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 peep. And then here oh, this one keeps falling over. Hold on. Stop falling over. Some other house plants. This one's not doing super well, but these other ones are doing pretty good outside. This one I put outside and I put it in direct sunlight and I scorched the crap out of her. So she is definitely gonna need some rehab. I thought she could handle it, but clearly not. She's a indirect girly, and she's also got some roots coming out of the pot, so she needs some love. She needs to be watered, she needs to be repotted, she needs to be in indirect light. I'm really sad because like even these new leaves got scorched and I'm disappointed in myself. She was doing pretty good, and then I made just one mistake. The back garden is also mulched. Got a place to store our bins and our wheelbarrow and scrap wood. We are composting now, some leaf litter, and trying to get some compost going. The dogs are no longer allowed back here because compost can be deadly to pets, so they are very upset with me. But here's the garden. These are soybeans. Oh, those ones aren't doing so good. Chives. These are regular green beans growing, getting nice and fluffy. Some mint, that's just to keep the squirrels away. More green beans. Clearly I need to weed in here, but these ones are the green beans. Look at the strawberries. Look at all those flowers. More green beans, but I'm trying to do corn and green beans together. Like the 3 sister method, I guess, but 2 sisters, because I don't know what I'm doing. So this is also an experiment. Got some rosemary and oregano, and these are pumpkins. I am very excited about the pumpkins. They are growing so well. I'm really, really excited to get you can see they grew them from seeds. More marigolds. And this is carrots. Not much happening here. I think these are all little weeds coming up, but soon those will start poking through. And basil. But yeah, I really am liking the progress of the garden, especially now that we've done some weed management back here with this mulch. Also, the sunroom is now part office, and I got this new plant, which is actually doing really well under my care. She needs water today. You can see she's kind of curling up a little bit, but Love her. It's much later in the day, and I did finish The Kingdom of Copper, and this was really good. It was better than book 1, but not a 5 stars. I thought the world was even more expanded upon. I enjoyed the characters a lot, including the character I don't particularly enjoy. He was less annoying in this book. Still annoying, but less annoying. But I think I'm gonna give this book like a 4.5, 4.25. I think there was supposed to be a little bit more of an emotional punch at the end, and I did get a little, I felt it, but I didn't feel it very deeply, if that makes sense. Really good, just not a 5 star. So that means we keep vlogging. I'm actually gonna read the 3rd book in this series, and maybe it'll be a 5 star. I don't know. I mean, the 1st book was decent. The 2nd book was really good, so hopefully the 3rd book is fantastic. The 3rd book is The Empire of Gold. So, good night for now, and I will read this behemoth and let you know what I think. Hello. 50% update for Empire of Gold. The first 25%, rock solid, was loving every second, really vibing. The second 25% dragged a little bit. Not gonna lie, I was losing focus a little bit. I'm hoping the last 50% of the book is very high action and we get back to it. What can I say without spoiling things? Not much. I am actually enjoying all of the characters now. Took 3 books, but I'm finally liking one character in particular. Or at least what they're going through in this book as a character. I think this book is really interesting, or the series is really interesting, because one of the major themes here is vengeance and war and being on opposite sides of a conflict and wanting justice and blurring the lines between justice and revenge and the cycle of violence. And I will say, I don't know if this, it depends on how it concludes, but I don't know if this is my favorite execution of that theme, depending on how it ends. How do we break the cycle of violence? How do we get out of that? How do we have justice for what was done to us, one side or the other, without going into authoritarian dictatorship? So that's an interesting theme, and we'll see how it pans out. But that's kind of a big theme of this whole series, which I am enjoying, and it is a really interesting theme, and there's a lot of opportunity with this type of narrative. Whew, it's hot out. So, hi Tetra. Hi. So it's been another few days. I finished Empire of Gold, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. I'm giving it a 4.25, the same as The Kingdom of Copper. I really do like this story. I like the world building, I like the politics, I like the romance, I like the characters a lot. Alizade Al-Khattani is one of my favorite characters of all time. He still holds one of those top spots for me personally. I just feel, one, this book had a few pacing issues for me personally. I thought that there was, the middle chunk was slower to me. I also felt a little unsatisfied, specifically with the romance and this ending. I love the romance, but it ends with us wanting more out of the romance, in my opinion. The door is open for them, for the characters that I'm talking about, to be in a relationship, but they're not in a relationship yet. So I feel like, just in terms of the romance, a little unsatisfied. The ending of the overall political plot and the action, very good. That was 5-star worthy, but just, I feel a little disappointed. So I'm gonna have to read the short story collection that comes after. It's called A River of Silver. to, I've heard that there are some more romance elements in those short stories or novella or whatever it is. So yeah, not a 5 stars, unfortunately. I started another book and I'm about 50% of the way through it. I'm reading a horror novel called When the Reckoning Comes by LaTanya McQueen, and this is also not going to be a 5-star read. I can tell you now, there is a lot, I mean a lot of exposition in this book. This is about a woman, a black woman, who returns to her small town in South Carolina. I believe it's South Carolina. Her white friend is getting married and they're having the wedding at a plantation that has been restored. And obviously there's a lot of issues with that. But also something happened at this when it was abandoned still. Something happened at the plantation when our main character was a child that kind of broke her friend group apart. And the way that we are presented with all this information is extremely clunky, in my opinion. There's no intrigue. There's no mystery on like what happened then versus what's happening now, because we get all of the then up front. So I'm liking the plot, I'm liking the story, and I'm liking the characters, but it's not scary at the moment, and I'm like 40-50% in, and the execution is just extremely clunky. So this is, again, not going to be a 5 stars. Okay, for this vlog, should I even give you another update since this isn't going to be a 5 star? Should I just finish it and start another book? Well, let me know in the comments down below what you want me to do for the next time I do this, because this is a fun vlog. I just don't really know how to handle books that I know aren't gonna be 5 stars. You know what I mean? So I did it. I finished When the Reckoning Comes, and it's a 3-star read. It's a 3-star horror. It was good. I enjoyed it. But again, I think the execution of the first 50% of the book, I was not. I did think it picked up in the second half, but it just wasn't enough to make me love it for what it was. So definitely a 3-star read, not a 5-star. I'm gonna move on to something else. I think I'm gonna pick up The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This is a fantasy-ish literary fiction, kinda about a man who finds a book, and the book like is about his life, kind of, or something to that effect. I'm picking this up not knowing much about it because I read The Night Circus by this author and gave that a 5 stars. So I'm hoping that Erin Morgenstern's other work is also going to be 5 stars. And I love books about bookish people and bookish things, so hopefully this is a smash hit. It is also quite long, so I'll see you in a couple days. Just wanted to give a quick update for The Starless Sea. Similar to The Night Circus, this is written with probably multiple timelines. I'm assuming we're jumping around a lot. It's very literary in its storytelling. It is about a man who, he's a college student. He finds a book at the library that talks about an experience he had as a child, but he never told anyone about that night. So he's like, who could have written this book? And there's no author. And so there's a mystery and there's a plot going on there. But there's also like cyclical or like repetitive like framing narratives happening. The book starts off with this pirate in prison, and then he's telling us this story to a woman who brings him food when he's in prison. But then also in the book that our main character Zachary finds, the pirate is in that pirate story is in the book too. So it's like a story within a story, but it's like a paradox. And I don't know what's happening. I have to pay attention to this one, which with The Night Circus, I like stuck through it and I ended up giving that book 5 stars. It's a very similar writing styles and execution, so I'm probably gonna like this, but like, oh boy, do I need to pay attention and really listen to this audiobook. I read the Night Circus with my eyeballs, and I'm listening to this one, and maybe I want to get this one physically because I think I'm supposed to be confused, but I'm only 10% in, so hopefully by the 50% mark, definitely by the end, I have a better understanding of what this book actually is. Okay, I just got home from work, and so I decided I'm going to switch gears a little bit. I was reading The Starless Sea, which I do think is going to be a 5 stars, but I need to read it slowly. So for the sake of this vlog, I'm going to put it down for now. And my library hold for Arrow's Fall came in by Mercedes Lackey. This is the third book in the Heralds of Valdemar trilogy, and I think this is going to be a 5 stars, and it's much quicker to get through. So for the sake of the vlog, I'm going to try and get through this one first to see if this is a 5 star. I'm happy to report, my friends, that Arrow's Fall, I think I gotta give 5 out of 5 stars too. So we have come to the end of this video. So Arrow's Fall is the third book in the Heralds of Valdemar series, a series I have recently become quite obsessed with. Before I talk anything review-wise about this book, I want to give trigger warnings. This is a very dark fantasy book. This has rape, torture, suicide, PTSD, all that. Mercedes Lackey is very matter-of-fact about those things and goes past them very quickly, but I still wanted to call that out because with the tone of the first book, I wasn't sure that this was the direction that it was going to go into in terms of those types of triggers. This is following Talia with her last hurrah. She is a full-blown herald in this one. And the first 50% of the book, she is home from her internship, and there are some political machinations happening at court, and she has her suspicions about one particular lord who is very close to the queen, but she can't prove him guilty yet. Halfway through the book, Talia and Chris, her mentor and friend, travel to an allied kingdom to assess the situation there and see if they are a good material for a marriage alliance, and things go awry. This was great. I teared up 2 times. This had me very emotional, and I really, really enjoy this world and this series. Talia as a main character is both wonderful and frustrating at the same time. She has a tendency to bottle up all of her emotions, and that is something consistent throughout the whole series that I find frustrating about her, but she's very consistent as a character, and the people around her are so phenomenal, and she loves and is so loyal to her friends and her kingdom and her queen that I can't help but admire her, and she is a great main character, in my opinion. I'm sad to see like the end of the series, and the next book I'm gonna read is a standalone following a different main character, and I'm sad to say goodbye to Talia, but these characters do make reappearances in other works and some prequels to this and some sequels to this, following the Heir in a trilogy, and then her like Arms Master has a trilogy, and one of her friends has a standalone. So these characters do make a comeback, but I'm sad to see this one go. So overall in this vlog, we read the last 2 books in the Daevabad trilogy, and I gave both of those 4.25. I read When the Reckoning Comes, really not my vibe. I tried to read The Starless Sea, which I think is a great book, but I don't think I am in the mood for it at the moment, and it is a little bit more complicated, and I think I want to read it with my eyeballs, not my ears, because I need to pay attention to what I'm reading. And then we finally found a 5 star with Arrow's Fall. Some stats that I have for you: of the 18 new 5 star favorites I read this year, on average, it was 4.6 books between 5 star reads, if that makes sense. So I would go 5 or 6 books before finding a new 5-star read, if that makes sense. The outliers, there was one instance or 2 instances where I read 2 5-star books back to back. The longest stretch I went this year without finding a 5-star was 15 books. It took me 15 reads between 5 stars, and that's quite a big gap. But on average, it's 4.6, or between 4 and 5 books before I find a new 5-star read. I really hope you enjoyed this vlog. This was so fun, and it took me about 10 days to read all of those books and to find a new 5-star favorite, but I'm so happy you followed along on this journey. This was super fun, and I can't wait to see you in another video of mine very soon. Bye.